To order. Roll call, please.
Chuck Angier,
Here.
Tim Duffer,
Here.
Brian Fox,
Here.
Kermit King,
Here.
Ben Meeks,
Here.
Hugh Mitchell, Ronald Scarce,
Here.
Keith Scruggs, Bert Sellers.
Very good. All right, this time we'll observe a moment of silence, please. All right. If you would, please stand with me to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, if you would, look over the agenda briefly to see if there's any items that need to be added or changed on tonight's agenda. Any items to be added or changed on the agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as written.
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Duffer.
Second.
Have multiple seconds. I think it was Mr. Angie or Mr. Sellers. Need a second. There we go. All right, please cast your vote. The agenda is approved. Thank you. All right, if you would take a few moments and look over the minutes from the previous Fire Rescue Commission meeting.
Once everybody's had a chance to read through those, I'll entertain a motion to approve, hearing no corrections.
So moved.
Have a motion by Chuck Angier.
Second.
Who was the second? Kermit King with the second. Thank you, sir. Any discussion? Please cast your vote. Minutes from the September meeting are approved. Presentations. We have none for tonight. Thank you, sir. That moves us to hearing of the citizens. Each person addressing this commission under the hearing of the citizens shall be a resident or landowner of the county or the registered agent of such resident or landowner. Each person shall step up, give his or her name and district in an audible tone of voice for the record. Unless further time is granted by the chairman, shall limit his or her address to 3 minutes. No person shall be permitted to address the commission more than once during the hearing of the citizens. All remarks shall be addressed to the commission as a body and not to any individual member thereof. Hearing of the citizens shall last for a maximum of 45 minutes. Any individual that is signed up to speak during said section who does not get the opportunity to do so because of the aforementioned time limit shall be given speaking priority at the next commission meeting. Absent chairman's approval, no person shall be able to speak who has not signed up. Everyone signed up tonight, sir?
Yes, sir, we have two. The first one is Mr. Vic Ingram.
All right. Welcome, Mr. Ingram.
Good evening, gentlemen. Let me first thank you for letting me to speak to you. I'm Vic Ingram. I live in the Tunstall Magisterial District, and I also serve on the Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors. I've tried to come before you a couple of times, and it looks like my schedule and yours just didn't match up. So I want to somewhat apologize for the delay in what I feel like I need to say. I do want to thank you guys for your service and stress how important you are and how valuable your input is to me as a member of the Board of Supervisors. I don't take lightly what you guys send up to us. I think I'm the only member of the board that has ever been a volunteer fireman, and I know what it feels like to get up from the dinner table, to get out of the bed, to go run a call. I know what it's like to be away from your family, and I truly understand the meaning of service and sacrifice. I want to set the record straight on a matter involving a request from the Cascade Fire and Rescue for assistance that they needed with a new truck. On May the 25th, County Administrator David Smitherman came before you and called me a hijacker. While publicly reprimanding you guys on your role as what you were to do as commissioners, and in the midst of that, just pretty much reprimanded you in regards to your service here. He said that I had hijacked the process involving Cascade Fire and Rescue, who was asking for assistance of a truck, and that was simply a lie. I didn't hijack anything. So let me, for the record, set that timeline straight. December of 2020, Cascade Fire and Rescue took their request to the Fire and Rescue Association. The association approved their request, sent it to you guys. February the 2021, Chief Matt Hunt and myself came before you and spoke to you about their need for a new truck, and your support was unanimous. March 2021, since nothing had been sent up to the Board of Supervisors, Chief Matt Hunt and myself came back before you, and Chief Hunt presented to you once again the need for this fire truck. Your vote was unanimous. March the 29th, I sent Supervisor Ron Scarce a text asking if the Finance Committee was going to discuss Cascade's request at the meeting on March the 30th. He said that yes, they were going to talk about it, but they never did because I was there. So on April the 6th, I went to the next meeting and I asked for a simple up or down vote, at which time Chairman Warren asked me to amend my motion to include the truck that Mount Cross had asked for. And all of us fully realized that they had not gone through the proper steps of protocol. But however, that budget was approved on April the 8th of 2021. So as you can see, everything that I did was not only timely, but it was proper. And since Cascade Fire and Rescue is in my district, it's absolutely my responsibility to go to bat for them guys. And I did, and I always will. But you don't have to be in my district for me to go to bat for you. And I promise you that. I absolutely resent the suggestion that I had done anything improper or wrong. Actually, there had been 3 instances when Chairman Warren brought before the Board of Supervisors different situations that was absolutely out of line, even though I'd been reprimanded for doing the same thing, which I plead not guilty. So here lately, as you've probably seen, I've been called a lot of things in a very malicious resolution. But ironically, they didn't call me a hijacker in that. I'm sort of surprised. They should have added that. In addition, you've been scolded by David Smitherman, and I'm equally saddened about his derogatory comments about this commission, about your mission, about individual departments, about fire chiefs, about people that he's called unethical, who has served this county for over 50 years, and quite frankly, I've had enough. So everything that I've seen from the fire and rescue community has been ethical and above board. To me, the biggest threat to fire and rescue as we know it today is David Smitherman and his 4-year plan. Now, I'm not saying we don't need a plan. Yes, we probably do. But what he is pushing, I'm absolutely not in favor of. The men and women who volunteer to serve us are priceless, and they deserve the utmost of respect and admiration. We can never pay them or never repay them for what they've done for the citizens of this county. And for anybody to speak in a derogatory sense toward these volunteers, and many of you are sitting here before me, is just utterly reprehensible. So until this political season is over, I ask that you stand strong. You know what your mission is. You know why you were called here. You stand strong and do what you know is best for the county and for the volunteers, for the Fire and Rescue Association, and more specifically for serving the citizens of Pittsylvania County. And again, I cannot thank you guys enough for what you do for us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next up is Brother Mike Neal.
Chief, welcome. Good evening.
Hey, don't start me yet. I might be a minute over. Okay, good evening. I thank y'all for letting me speak. Okay, I got 2 things, and I'm going to try to be to the point on them and professional to them. First thing I want to bring up is I actually called Chris a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know how to put this, but we having some issues at Ringo covering calls, okay? And, you know, I'm going to be a big man and stand up, not trying to be Superman, say we great, okay? We have a good department. We've been one of the top leading departments the last 20 years covering the calls in this county. Last year or two has been pretty tough. I got some reasons wrote down. Of course, COVID across the county is tough. I've had 10 of my members since December has had COVID, 14-day quarantine. I've had 18 people had to be quarantined. I got 3 people who's got no immune system. They can't get around this stuff. If it comes in COVID positive, I mean, we ain't cherry picking, but I'm just saying they can't go. And we've had a lot of people working 2 jobs now. Had a lot of people's had a lot of illness lately, including me. A lot of sickness. I've lost some good people. I got people in classes up in Martinsville and Patrick County. It takes them out of the area. And this diversion stuff, you get on a truck and you go in 2.5 hours, 3 hours, people scared to get on the truck. I ain't got time to get home to go to work. I ain't got time to make this doctor's appointment. So all that stuff has hurt us. And the biggest thing, and we can all be grown-ups here, but I really hurt me that our department sort of got slammed since about July, on unethical cherry picking. And it's been 3 or more punches thrown to my department. It's really been since these elections started, okay? And I won't say no more about that, but we're trying to hold on that. But it's hurt my morale, my department. It's took a lot of heart out of people in my department, including me, okay? So what I'm looking at is we picked up running Log Road 4 years ago. Dean's running Log Road in Keelan, and what he needs to do is his business. I'm looking at, I told Chris we probably need to put a medic truck, another medic truck like we got in Hurt, Chatham, and Mount Herman out between the Kentucky area and Log Road area, okay? I mean, I'm running 12 to 14 miles down there. He's running 12 to 16 miles down there. You got 16, 18 miles back to hospital where it's going to be either way. It's just so many calls. We had 113 events in September. Year before last, we run about 1,300 calls. Last year was about 1,100. This year's going to be between 11 and 12. And the call volume is so high, I can't handle it, okay? So I want to be the bigger person, and my priority is to take care of you, patient care. That's the word. And when it's taking 35 and 40 minutes for Medic 3 to get to Log Grove, get down here on Milton Road. And this other place in the county is a whole lot longer than that, trust me. And you still got departments in this county running 38% rescue, 60% rescue. We was, 88% last month. We've been in the 90s all our life. So, I mean, we're not in bad shape. But I just, as a 52 years experience can tell you, and going forward, we're struggling, okay? So I want the county to look ahead and let's say, hey, let's look at putting a medic truck in the Dan River District. I'm the only truck out there, okay? I'm covering Log Road. I'm covering Sutherland. I'm covering Mountain Hill. I'm covering Kentucky. I'm covering Ringgold. I got 3 industrial parks, 3 schools. I'm covering 11,000 people, 66,000 in this county. I'm covering 16% of Pittsylvania County. And I'm just letting you know I'm starting to have a problem with it, and we need to look ahead and doing something. I'm not saying we're giving up rescue, but I'm just saying from the Kentucky area to Log Road, we need some help. He may could kick in if he thinks he does, okay? But I know, you know, Casey and them know, I mean, it's tough for everybody these days. So I just wanted to put that ahead to you and let you know. The only other little quick thing, I'm not going to be a smart tail on this, but sort of in continuation of what I said, I just want to clear the air for the fire commission, and it's sort of funny. If you ain't had a good laugh today, you ought to get one right here. But at the end of the day, Chris Slimp called me October the 15th, and he's a good friend of mine. I think a lot of them. He'd come to my mama's funeral, who died and was buried October the 8th, and I really appreciate seeing you sitting out there in that audience. Chris called me and said, Mike, I got to ask you this. I said, what? He said, you having a stew tomorrow? Well, you know we've been famous for Brunswick stew for 60 years in this county. I sold $38,000 worth last year, okay? I said, yeah, our stew's October 16th, first stew of the year. We cooking 500 gallons of stew, okay? And he said, well, I got a call from somebody and said that y'all was doing the stew Saturday, but it was a benefit campaign for Tim Chesser, who's running for Board of Supervisors. I said, you have got to be kidding me. That ain't what I said, but I said, you got to be kidding me, Chris. He said, no, we got a call on that. So I just want to clarify the hour tonight that we sold 1,840 quarts, $7 a quart, $12,880 taken in. We cleared about $7,600 and got $900 in donations. A lot of that was in memory of my mother, who just died, and all the money went into Ringgold Fire Department's treasury. And if you read the Danville paper, it says all proceeds was going toward operations. So I just want to let y'all know that we won't out here running a stew for a supervisor's election. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. We were sorry to hear about your mother's passing also. Anyone else sign up? Okay. All right. Fire Rescue Association report, Chief.
The only thing I got is keep your responders in your thoughts and prayers. We've got a lot of them that's having family having medical issues as well as members having them, and the call volume is still there. Just keep them in your thoughts and prayers.
Yes, sir. Thank you. County staff report.
Thank you, sir. Just one thing that I don't have in the executive summary, just to mention, I've mentioned it before, but our friend Ralph Lawson is here again tonight with the Red Cross. He shows up every once in a while from time to time. And I like seeing him here because normally when I'm seeing Ralph, bad things have happened. And Chief Duffer would, I think, attest to in the city. Ralph does a great job helping us throughout the year. If, we're going to get 10 inches of snow, he's sending me a message, all of us, saying, hey, how are your own shelters? What are you going to need? So a lot of people don't realize what goes on behind the scenes that the Red Cross helps us with. And Ralph is a great friend for that, and I really appreciate that. Want to congratulate KCC on completion of the Fire Officers Academy last week. Chief Officers Academy, she just corrected me, sorry about that. Real proud of her for going up and completing that. We were lucky. They didn't have that at the University of Richmond this year. They actually had it at Smith Mountain Lake. So it was local and she could get in, and real proud of her for doing that. We conducted the interviews for the deputy director's position, and when I wrote this, we had not completed an offer, but we've since I can say that we've made an offer. An offer has been accepted, and we will be having Chris Key coming on board with us. Many of you know Chris. He's a battalion chief in the city of Danville. Got a long history of fire and rescue volunteerism in this county. He's been a volunteer fire chief here in this county before, and I think most people know Chris, and he'll be joining our team here very shortly as our deputy director. Real proud to say that. The Hurt EMS station is now it's about 98% complete. We lack just getting internet connected up, and we'll soon be running out of that station, hopefully in the next few days. We've done the final walkthrough, and we've gotten our certificate of occupancy now, and so we're ready to go with that just about. So hopefully we'll be moving in the next few days. And lastly, not in the executive summary, I've heard a couple of y'all mention you did not get the packet, the email I sent out. I'll double check that. I know some of you did because some of you sent me some responses, but I'll double check, try to figure out why some of you aren't getting it suddenly. I'll check into that. So other than that, that's all I have. Thank you, sir. Appreciate everybody being here.
Thank you, sir. Any unfinished business tonight?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
speaking with Chris, we talked about the diversion. Has anything come about on the diversion from the last meeting?
I think that's going to be in Mr. Scarce's report.
Okay.
I believe he's going to address something with that.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you bringing that back to mind. New business. Mr. Scarce.
Thank you, Chairman. At the Board of Supervisors' October business meeting, the board decided the following items related to the county's volunteer fire and rescue agencies. One, we appointed Hugh Mitchell as a citizen at large for the Southwest Quadrant. He will be replacing Bobby Lovelace, who has resigned for health reasons. We thank him for his service. I wish he could maintain this position, but that is his decision, and I would thank him for the service to the Fire and Rescue Commission. Secondly, we directed the county administrator to start discussions with both Danville, Sova, and Gretna Centra ER about reducing the number of hospital diversions that are occurring, as well as potentially expanding services in the county. I appreciate the recommendation from the Fire and Rescue, and I hope we can make some progress on this because I know it's really taxing for our EMS services with all the diversions going on. We also discussed the ARPA funds appointed to the volunteer fire and rescue departments. The Board's Finance Committee heard the process recommended by the Fire and Rescue Commission. However, after more discussions, the Finance Committee agreed to table any further action until our Finance Director, Kimberly Vanderhyde, can ensure that you guys know what you can spend the money on. This ARPA has a lot of strings attached, and we just want to make sure that nobody gets in trouble and purchases something with the funds, and I think the county would probably have to eat that in the end if they come back and do a survey. So that's going to be approved. We love the recommendation. We'll approve it, but we just want to make sure that everyone gets a little bit of training from Kim Vanderhyde to make sure they know what they can spend the money on there. I think there's a lot of things that are available, so I hope there'll be a long list, and it'll help you guys, especially the local departments, with their costs and stuff. Other than that, I think that was about it. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Scarce?
I do have a question. This may be directed towards Mr. Slimp. Are we going to postpone the start date for the applications to be due?
Yes, we are going to have to do that. What I want to do is see if Kim can come to a meeting. She was still going back through the documents some, and thank you for bringing that up, actually. I think that we need to get our group back together with her to go over some stuff. I worked on an application, and basically I took all the wording out of the document, the ARPA document, because, you know, your project, and I think you need, I've been telling people you got to think about this as a puzzle. You know, if your project doesn't fit into this piece of the puzzle, there's other pieces it may fit into, especially when you get into talking about serving areas of that are areas of need. You know, whether it be like because they don't have enough health care, you have a big poverty area, things like that. So I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to hold those applications probably to December, and then. But I think between now and then we can all meet with her and get her involved with us, if that's good with you guys.
Okay. I'll speak real quick. I mean, I appreciate the board putting that money up for the fire and rescue, and I appreciate everybody doing the due diligence on it. I just told Chris, though, I hope we get this thing moving pretty quick, because the ones that are trying to buy air packs, me being one of them, The contract's getting ready to run out, and it's gonna go up, for the amount we're ordering, $16,000. So I'm really gonna lose several air packs because of us pushing this back further. And I really think everything I've looked at and reviewed, in the ARPA funds and talked to surrounding counties, air packs is gonna fall well in there. So I just, the quicker we can open the process for the ones that know they're in the good, I think it needs to happen. That's all I gotta say.
All right, anything else for Mr. Scarce?
I think I am done. Thank you.
Good, all right. All right, that brings us to matters from commissioners. We'll start at my far right. Mr. Sellers, do you have anything tonight?
Yes, I'd like to say, I'd like to thank Vic Ingram for his support of our commission. He is a regular attendee at our meetings and seems to be genuinely concerned about the county, and I really appreciate that. I'd also like to thank Mike Neal for all the work he does for the Ringgold community, and thank him for regularly attending our meetings and supporting our committee, Mike. And again, thanks to both of these guys, and that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Angier.
I spent some time in the 911 center during a very busy time. And, man, I can never do that. I was impressed. I don't know how they rank with all the others, but I was impressed. That's a pretty well-oiled machine there, I think. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Chief Fowler, you got anything tonight? No? Mr. Scarce, anything else?
Oh, I do have some comments. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
I just want to reiterate to this board, or committee rather, how important David Smitherman has been to the fire and rescue community. Every metric this county has, I think we're doing a fantastic job. I can give you some facts. The county financial health is in great shape. After the first year I was on the board, we were almost bankrupt because of the decisions of that board at the time. Right now, our finances are fantastic. The other thing is we've increased funding with this great financial health. We've increased funding to the schools. We've increased funding to fire and rescue agencies. And I would ask you to go back and look at your books. Most of you guys have been around for 4 years. Go back and look at your books 4 years ago and see the amount of money the county was supplying you then and compare it to now. I guarantee you most of this was because of David Smitherman and the leadership of Bob Warren. I really hope you'll go back and look at that and look at the facts instead of listening to liars who are throwing out lies and misinformation. The other thing we've done is economic growth. We are the envy of the state. We just had Tyson Foods do a groundbreaking last week. We are the envy of the state with the economic growth we're doing. Again, that goes back to the leadership of Bob Warren and David Smitherman. Lastly, I want to state some comments or facts that Chuck Angier put out. We have a tax rate that is the third lowest in the whole state. So I keep hearing people tell me that we're getting overtaxed. We are the third lowest tax revenue per capita in the state. That's 90 plus counties and 38 cities, I believe. We're the third lowest. How are we getting overtaxed? Somebody needs their frickin' head examined. All I'm telling you is we've got an election coming up. You've got 2 board members who've been part of this team that's tried to provide better for this community, fire and rescue. Please keep that in mind when you go vote. They have a record of success, and it's not filled with lies and misinformation. You can check everything I've said. It's factual. And I hope you keep that in mind when you go vote for governor. We need a change in Richmond. Glenn Youngkin's just had a campaign event up the road here. It's very important that we change the Democrat leadership in Richmond. They are destroying our state. So again, as you go to the polls next week, please keep these things in mind. And again, David Smitherman's been the best thing we've done for this county since I've been on the board. And if you can't understand that, I don't know what else to tell you. If you look at every metric that we have in the county, employee satisfaction is up to 75%. It keeps increasing every day. This is a great place to work, and I think our employees understand that. I just hope the fire and rescue understands all the good things we've tried to do and to destroy that because of one lie, one misinformation producer that's been out there poisoning our county. I hope you'll take that into consideration when you go to vote next week. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Meeks.
Yes, sir. I've got quite a few things to say that they're all pretty quick. First of all, I just want to apologize for missing last meeting. I don't like to miss. I was in Florida doing an inspection on an ambulance we're getting ready to take delivery on, so I do apologize. So I missed the Rockfest conversation. I just wanted to say I thought that went extremely well as far as fire and rescue, and looked like police as well, but I know Casey did an excellent job, Chris and all those guys, and we put in a lot of hours up there. And I really want to say thank you to the volunteers too. It was a lot of public safety staff, thank you as well. They stepped up and pulled a lot of hours, but the volunteers did too, supplying trucks, gators, stuff like that. And I think that went smooth as it could, and we worked really hard, so good job there. I also want to say congratulations to Chris Key. I really don't know him. All I want to say is if he's listening, we're glad to have you on board with us, but just keep an open mind. This is one service, one team mentality, and we need to make sure that we keep the public safety and the volunteers all on the same level. One's not above the other. We're all working towards the same goal. Now, we had some issues in the past with the deputy director, and so I'm hoping that stuff's going to improve and those relationships continue to improve going forward. Next thing I'm going to say, y'all need to keep Scott Ains in your prayers. I didn't hear about that situation until today. He's been huge in the community of this county, fire and rescue and other things. And also Kristen Talley, she lost her sight, I was told, but that's coming back around. I don't know the full story, so keep her in your prayers. I do think that Mr. Schlimp needs to get with the association, and we need to look at an auto launch program for our ladders. We are underutilizing our ladders in this county. We have a lot of, I know my district is second most in the county for high-rise buildings. We don't have a ladder, so we got to have help coming. I've had several incidents at the nursing home in the last few months, and agencies brought us ladders, but I don't think the IC should have to make that call. It should be in the dispatch protocol, so if they could just look into that. And also same deal with RIT. We still haven't progressed anywhere with RIT, really. So I think we need to start doing some cross-training, even involving the public safety people across the county as a whole. I've already discussed the ARPA funds. One thing I did want to say about those, I appreciate the board of supervisors of paying the incentive for the $500. That's a major help to a lot of people that's struggling. And I got a lot of people that have less incomes, and so they appreciate that. The one bummer I will say, and I guess you can't please everybody, so I'll be that guy, is I didn't agree with the county employees that got this stipend, but they couldn't also get it if they was a volunteer. I didn't understand that. It may be against the law, I don't know, but I just didn't understand it because when they're working for the county, that's hazard, whatever you want to say, and they got the incentive for the shot, but they're also, when they're volunteering, that's on their own time. So I didn't agree with that, but I do appreciate the board allocating that money for us. Mike Neal, I just want to say, brother, hang in there. Y'all have done a great job for a long time, and I've been there running 30% of your calls, and I almost felt embarrassed, but hey, I understand it's just the way it works, so keep plugging at it, and y'all will turn it back around. I mean, you're doing a good job anyway. One thing I also want to say, Chris, is something maybe just you to look at, and I'm probably going to ask for it to be on the agenda next meeting, is the per call pay that we receive from the county. I think that needs to be looked at, increasing it right now a little bit to offset the cost of these trucks having to transport so far, because I know some agencies are starting to pay higher stipend programs and stuff like that, because I've had people, same as Chief Neal, tell me, look, I can't get on a truck and run no more right now because we're having a 3 or 4 hour turnaround going to Lynchburg, whereas before we could do an hour and a half, 2 hours, or less than that. So we are having to offer more incentives to get these people out here on these calls, and more wear and tear on our trucks and stuff like that. So I think the per call pay that comes in needs to be looked at and possibly adjusted. And like I said, I'm gonna probably bring that up at next meeting. And the last thing, like Mr. Scarra said, we do have an election coming up. I think it's very important for everybody to vote, no matter which side you pull for. You need to make sure you vote in the governor election, because I will say the state and the local elections are far more important in my eyes than the federal. I feel like they affect us more, even though I know the federal does. They affect us more than anything. So I hope we can flip the state back. And last thing I'll say is the candidates, all three that are running in Gretna, seem to be good men. I've sat down with all of them. They've been good to my guys. I think they support fire and rescue, and they're all Republican. Just because the sign says independent, that doesn't matter. They're all Republicans at heart and conservatives. So I think that narrative needs to go away. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Duffer.
First, I got just a few things. I want to commend Chief Neal to get up here and ask and talk about your agency and explain. I think a lot of times we need to hear that. I think the public, this is streamed live, I think the public needs to hear that. They don't understand that. So I would ask that the Fire and Rescue, Mr. Slimp, y'all take a look at that, whether it be adjusting what you have or, even entertain adding something. And that's part of my area. I know Laurel Grove may offer some of their facilities. There's options out there, and if a fire chief is asking, that needs to be a priority. So thank you, Chief Neal, for bringing that up. The other thing, and this is kind of going back to, we was talking about the 911 center. I encourage anybody, that's kind of something that I do as well. And my job is I'm in charge of a 911 center, but I have a 911 manager that runs it, and I'll put that out there real quick. And without her, I'd be lost. So she's very important. But I would encourage anybody that has the opportunity, if you're in fire and rescue, to go sit in a 911 center. And I'm kind of glad you brought that up, because I'm going to ask this. I know this is just an ask, but I would ask the Board of Supervisors to look at changing their status if they're not to public safety. Currently, they're not. I know that's a state thing as well, but I feel like the county could make some adjustments. That's just something near and dear to my heart. I think 911s, they are the first emergency workers. They give instructions, and I'm sure Mr. Slimp or Mr. Fowler, Ronnie, in the 911 center can give you plenty of examples of what they go through, and for them to be, in some cases, to be classified, and this is nothing against secretaries or nothing against administrative, but it's not the same. I personally know of my communicators in the city that listen to people commit suicide, listen to homicides, and listen to a lot of tragic stuff, and they do it for 12 hours a day. And for them to not be considered public safety, I think is very wrong. So, and I know it's more to it than just the county, but if the county sends that message to Richmond, then that message may be heard. So that's my ask for that. I'm just looking at my notes. The other thing is I just want to thank all of the volunteer agencies for what you do. This year has been like, I've been in the volunteer system for well over 30 years. And the past 18 months I can't even explain it. The pandemic, everything that's going on. The things that we don't think about now, we dealt with the pandemic, but now we're going to start dealing with shortages. We're going to start dealing with vehicles that have maintenance issues, that have a simple part that we got to wait 6 months for, and that vehicle is now out of service because we're waiting on a part that's sitting on a boat somewhere out in the middle of the ocean that can't get docked. So that's going to affect that shortage that you may see in the store is also going to affect these ambulances. And if we have an ambulance down because of a $10 part that we can't get, that's something to consider. And the last thing is, I want to thank the county for offering, considering Chris Key and offering him that position. I'm going to say from a city, we're losing a good guy, but y'all are gaining a great guy as well. So, I think a lot of Mr. Key, Chris Key, but Battalion Chief Key, and I think he'll do the county an outstanding job. He understands the volunteer system. He's been a part of the system for many years, so I think he'll, to your question, he does understand Pittsylvania County. So thank y'all for doing that. I wish we could keep him, but I'm glad he's staying local.
Mr. King.
Yes, just a few things. As I look out across the audience, I see some of the same faces. We're kind of few in number tonight, but don't think it doesn't go unnoticed. I thank you, chiefs, assistant chiefs, your representation for coming to attending these meetings. Secondly, like I said, Chief Neal, like I said, our condolences to you and your family, for your mother, and also thank you for your honesty. And we've all been there. Some of us are still there. So we all in the system together. Mr. Ingram, Mr. Scarce, thank you for your comments. Ms. Casey, thank you. Congratulations. Also, I'd like to congratulate Chris Key and welcome him to the public safety for the county. But like I said, just keep our volunteers and everybody in your prayers. And hopefully they stay safe. And let's remember, vote on Tuesday.
Mr. Chairman, I have one comment, if I could.
Yes, sir, Mr. Sellers.
Mr. Scarce, with all due respect, seemed to suggest that our commission had contempt for Mr. Smitherman. If we have, I'm not aware of it. I don't know of any contempt we've had. He comes to our meetings, we address him. We send our recommendations up to the board for their, our recommendations to the board for their approval or disapproval, and we live with whatever they do. But I'm not sure that there's been any ill will here with Mr. Smitherman. And also, quite frankly, Mr. Scarce, I don't appreciate you bringing your petty politics from the board down to our committee. We have a very, all of these people here, we're not elected officials. We were asked to be here by the county, and we do our best to represent this county and to send y'all recommendations that we think are right. And for you to bring your petty politics down here and lecture us in a public forum, you're an elected official. We don't need you here telling us how to vote or recommending how we vote. We have a mind of our own, and we can vote like we want to. And I respect what you do in the county. You were elected by the people in your district. I'm sure that they respected you enough to elect you, and I respect you as a supervisor. I don't respect what you come here and said tonight, and that's my opinion.
All right, thank you, sir.
Might I reply? I don't want to get in a pissing contest, but most of my comments were directed to one person. This commission has a responsibility to do what's right for fire and rescue in the county. I was just stating facts on what the county has done for fire and rescue over the past 4 years. Had no derogatory comments towards this commission. It was directed at one person that brought his petty politics in today, and I had to set the record straight. Right. And I'm sorry if I get you a little upset, Mr. Sellers, but I'm not going to stand by and let a liar continue to lie in public. I had to call him out for that, and I apologize for that. But he's trying to undermine the county, and you need to keep that in mind, that he's going to try to tear this county apart if he keeps continuing with the lies.
All right, I've got a few things tonight. One, I do look forward to working with Chris Key. I've worked with him quite a bit in the city. Again, I think you're getting a great guy for the job. He does have the heart of a volunteer. He's been there, done that, understands it, and I think he'll integrate very well with our system. Had opportunity to run more calls than normal as a county volunteer over the last few weeks, and Chief Neal's, the other chiefs out here, I want you to understand the heart of the volunteer is alive. I've seen it, okay? I've seen agencies come together, running calls, covering each other's backs when members were out with COVID, out with sickness, out with illness, out with bereavement, family loss. I've seen other agencies rally behind them and support them. So don't ever think the heart of the volunteer is dead, because it's not. I've seen it in action in the last couple of weeks. So to that point, volunteers, keep doing what you're doing. You are needed. You are a vital part of the resources in this county to do this, and you save this county a ton of money. I can tell you that from a system that is a combination. You can't put a price tag on the volunteer because they do it for nothing, and you save the county a ton. Keep doing what you're doing. Mr. Angier, I'd like to commend you. Mr. Angier, since he's been on this commission, has been digging in and digging in and digging in. He's gone to Fire Rescue Association meetings. He's gone to other meetings. He's gone to the 911 center. He's gone to various town hall meetings at various squads and stations. I commend you. You dug in, and you are learning and want to know how this system works to better serve. So thank you for that. That's a breath of fresh air. Thank you.
I got a long ways to go, but
Well, thank you for that. That is a breath of fresh air. Y'all give him a hand, please. This man's an inspiration. He's getting it done. Training. I want to encourage all the volunteers out there. If there's training that goes around, please jump on it and take it. It's out there. Whether it's PHTLS, mass casualty, firefighter 1, firefighter 2, EVOC, extrication, whatever it is. If you're out there and you're in the volunteer squads, get with your chiefs. Find out where this training's at. Get in these classes. It makes you a better provider, which at the end of the day is a better customer service experience for our patients, which is who we're here to serve. So encourage your volunteers and your agencies to get involved in these training sessions and learn and become better. The other thing I want to talk about is triage it to ER. If the ERs are backed up, they're short staffed, whatever the case may be, if they send us to triage, please exercise immense patience. Don't get irritated and agitated. That's not going to help anything. And I know, look, I do it every day for a living. It's frustrating. I get it. I understand. But it's not the triage nurse's fault. It's not the charge nurse's fault. It's not the ER director's fault. It's not their fault. So why do we put the blame on them? And why do we take out our frustration on them? Don't do that. Just take it with a grain of salt. Roll on through it. Understand everybody has to do the same thing. And at the end of the day, it's all about getting the patient to the next level of care. So with that, that's all I've got. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate your comments tonight. I appreciate your being here. If there's nothing else tonight, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.